Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of DFS Preview. I'm Austyn from the Sports Chief. Hopefully, we can guide you through some good DFS tips for this weekend's race at Kentucky Speedway, the Quaker State 400. For some of you that do not know, Kentucky Speedway is a mile-and-a-half tri-oval, relatively low banked, so there is a lot of speed, but average laps, if you're really bringing it, it's like upper 170s. So as far as, the whole lap speed, some last week we didn't do so great. We did come away with a victory as far as we got some green, but we're kind of towards that lower end, the lower 20 percentile or something like that. But hopefully we can come away with a victory this week. Mile and a halfs are pretty fun for me to pick here. So Kentucky Speedway is a relatively younger track. It was the first Cup race here was 2011. Of course, Busch Series. I don't know if the Busch Series ever ran there, but the Xfinity and Nationwide had ran there a few years prior. And then Bruton Smith and Speedway Inc., I guess, they bought the track in '08, did a lot of renovations, and from then on, it's not from '08, but the whole goal was to make it a Cup track. I've actually been by there, going up to Ohio and stuff. It's a pretty neat track. I've never been to a race there. I remember the first race there was something about their traffic was terrible and getting people in and out. I'm sure they fixed that. But anyway, going back to the DraftKings stuff here. This week was a little different for me to pick. Watching the Xfinity race, it definitely is kind of hard to pass here. And I'm sure with the new Aero package, that'll make a big difference. I'm sure pack racing will be pretty big here. It's also kind of a home track for Toyota, as they have their plant there in Georgetown, Kentucky. So I'm sure, the Toyota faithful will be bringing it. And Toyota's actually won the most races here. So they've won I think they won 5 of them. But Brad Keselowski's won here 3 times. Kyle Busch has won here twice. So it'll be interesting to see, who will come out victorious. But let's get to it. Let's start doing our picks here. So this week, as you can see, I'm playing the quarter game. I'll be playing some other tournaments and single entry stuff like usual. So this is just one of my reserve stuff here. So Kyle Busch is starting in 10th place. He's at 11.5. Martin Truex starting in 8th is 11,000. Kevin Harvick starting in 5th, 10.6. Logano starting in 11th at 10.3. And Brad Keselowski rounds out the 10K guys starting in 3rd. And he's the winningest driver here. So as far as this tier here goes, Logano and Kyle Busch are really intriguing, as well as Truex too. But those guys are pretty interesting. You can make a case for any of these drivers. Honestly, I believe Brad Keselowski is probably the fastest in practice as far as average speeds go and everything. And then you look towards here, you got Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, guys like that. So what I'm looking for this week is really just great starting positions. See where I can get at. Last week we had the provisional stuff at Daytona, and that's one of the reasons I never do very well at Daytona. But starting position is going to be really key. And looking at this here, I already had my mind made up 3 of the drivers I want to go with. It's pretty simple. I'm going with Chase Elliott starting in 20th spot. I think Chase has a chance to win the race, and top 10 is not a terrible prediction for him. Hendrick's been kind of picking up their game, and I really like Chase Elliott starting in 20th. I think all those passes you can get could be very key. I also love Kyle Larson at 19. Larson looked pretty quick in practice, and this is a track where they've got that PJ1 on the surface, so you might see Larson going up to the top there and making some moves. The top will probably be pretty quick around here. I'm not sure as much about Kentucky, but as you can see in my little excerpt I write on the Sports Chief blog, this track really reminds me of Iowa and Auto Club, and Auto Club's a track Larson's pretty good at. The Iowa part, I don't really know as much but about Kyle, but I know that starting in 19th spot he's going to finish higher than 19th. I feel very confident as long as he can keep the wheels under him. And here comes the tricky part. See, Denny Hamlin is starting in 18th for me, and Eric Jones is starting in 21st. And while I think both of these guys are amazing picks, Eric Jones, to me, has been struggling a little bit. At Daytona, he did okay. No, that's not Daytona. Can't remember exactly what track that was. Wow, sorry about that, guys. But anyway, Sonoma there, he got 8th, and Kansas he got 31st. Pocono he got 3rd. He's been kind of hit and miss here, but Eric Jones is actually a very good finisher at Kentucky. Just the sample size isn't there. Denny Hamlin looked the fastest to me in practice as far as all that goes, and I feel very confident about him this week at Kentucky. Um, and I think actually he's probably my pick to win the race. But he's starting in 18th, so I've got the 18th, 19th, and 20th place guys. And I think all of them get a top 10. I think, it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to get a top 5. But I feel great getting 3 guys at 9 plus in price range. So now I'm going to have to go bargain hunting here. And as you scroll down here, it's Matt Tift actually laid down a pretty quick lap, I believe, as far as that goes. But he's starting in 31st. Bubba Wallace, 28th. David Reagan, 25th. Ross Chastain, 33rd. Ross is probably going to be one of the lowest owned guys, especially at that price. I don't see him doing any better than 33rd. Ryan Preece is starting in 30th, which they were surprisingly slow. They were very slow in practice. So I did like that pick, but man, they looked really bad slow. And I could see him rounding like a 26th or 7th place finish, which is not really worth it. One guy that actually looked fast in practice was Daniel Hemrick, and he qualified 6th. Daniel Hemrick probably will not finish better than 6th, but I think he'll get a top 15 finish, and I think that's going to be a winning move for us this week. Daniel Hemrick is going to be my pick at 6,300. The good qualifying position is like a weekly thing for him. If you click him and Austyn Dillon, these guys always qualify well. And he's actually been in the top 20 relatively consistently. So I look for a top 15, top 20 finish, and that's really all I'm looking for. I know I'm going to take a hit in the negatives, but I'm going to take that sacrifice being that I've got Hamlin, Larson, and Elliott. And I believe I can maybe save up enough to get another big name guy, because looking through here, this is really all your tier that you're looking at. So if you go Ryan Newman, you're looking at a 7,500 or lower, which Ryan Newman and like a William Byron is not a terrible strategy. I'm not against that strategy whatsoever. That's just not the route that I'm going. That would be my second choice. Stenhouse would be another option, but you're kind of looking at that 7,600. I really like Suarez before he qualified first, but I don't now. I think he'll run well, but it's going to be tough, if you picked him to get another guy, especially at the route I'm going. Chris Buescher is going to be a popular pick at 26 starting spot, but he looks really slow. Maybe they'll find some speed, but I don't really like the speed there in the car right now. Austyn Dillon, you could get $8,200, get your Almirola there. I think you know which route I'm going here. So Paul Menard or Matt DiBenedetto. If I get Paul Menard, I'm still looking at Ryan Blaney starting in 14th. But DiBenedetto is kind of in the 20s as far as speed goes. And the only reason why I'm going Matt DiBenedetto is because it's a home track for Toyota. He's got Joe Gibbs support, and Hamlin's my favorite pick there. I think DiBenedetto could actually get a top 15 finish here, and that would be amazing for him, and that could be a great pick here. So we got $8,600 to spend, and we could get Bowman at 85 or Blaney at 83. Ryan Blaney also looked fast in practice, and he's starting in 15th spot. I like Blaney better than Bowman. I just think Blaney's a little better suited for this track. And, Ryan Blaney at one point this year, if you click his name, he was like a 10K driver. He was very, very highly owned. And he started the season off very well. And I think this is just another track where he could really excel at. His dad actually won here a few years back. That's one in the memory bank that I remember driving for. It was a Dollar General car, if I remember right. It might have been Turner Scott. It's either Turner Scott or Joe Gibbs, but I believe it was Turner Scott. So, there you go. That's my lineup. Let's clean it up here a little bit. I basically had it cleaned up. So Chase Elliott very well could win the race. Kyle Larson could very well win the race. Denny Hamlin could win the race. Ryan Blaney could win the race. And I think these are my best options as far as that goes. I could have went the Newman Byron route, but I don't think either one of them would really win. This gives me an option to get a fourth guy in there that could win the race and finish better than his starting spot. Matt DiBenedetto at 6,800. And then rounding out my lineup will be Daniel Hemrick at 63. So, yep, that's what we're rolling out here with Sports Chief. So, hope this helped you out making your lineup. It's going to be a tough one for sure. And it's going to be interesting to see how the ownership rates go. I think a lot of the guys that I picked are going to be highly picked. Highly owned is a better way to put it. But I think Daniel Hemrick will be on the lower end. And, hey, I'm a big Hemrick fan, as you can see. Well, if I move my head a little bit to that way there. I got a little Daniel Hemrick diecast back there. But hopefully he can pull it through here at Kentucky. So that would be awesome. So, yeah. If you like what we put out here for you every week, you comment, like, subscribe to the Sports Chief channel on YouTube. Also, check us out on Twitter at The Sports Chief. Or www.thesportschief.com. We put up some blogs there, a little bit of everything. So we don't just do sports, we do entertainment, different things like that. So any other kind of reviews. Also, we have an AEW ticket giveaway. I gotta put that in there. Pretty excited about that. 2 tickets to give away at the Sears Center for the AEW All Out, I believe. So that's a pretty big deal for us. So if you want a chance at winning some tickets, just retweet it and follow us, and you'll be put in a drawing to win those 2 tickets. So hope you guys enjoyed, and good luck to you on your DFS lineups this week.